Hey, welcome back. I don't really have any amazing intro to this. We're back with Four Swords. Actually, we're not back with Four Swords. We're back to the review of Legend of Zelda, the manga box set. And actually, now it's the time to talk about the Four Swords. These two are actually sort of a double feature. So it's one game in two booklets. It's the same as Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time also comes in two booklets, so it gives the story quite a lot of space to develop. Now, the interesting thing about the Four Swords is that the Four Swords itself, as a game, or Four Swords Adventures rather, well, it's one thing that I have to say that it's named Four Swords, which is the name of the Four Swords game that was on the Game Boy Advance, but it's actually based on Four Swords Adventures on on the Nintendo GameCube, and the manga is actually going to tell us Four Sword Adventures, the game. It actually tells us some information about the game. You know, it was released in 2004, and you could use Game Boy Advance as a controller to play. Basically, the thing with Four Swords is that it's a very simple game. It really isn't story or text driven. It's very basic. There really isn't all that much to say about it. The focus is definitely on the gameplay. The story is very short lived. So it's rather interesting when you come up with an idea to translate it to a manga format. You have to make up quite a lot of your own story to go on, actually. So the authors, Akira Himekawa, they had quite a lot of creative freedom with this. Now, another feature that is very unique to any other Zelda game is that this time, you know, Link has four copies of himself, four swords, so he has four copies of himself, and it means that you actually have a very unique selection of characters for a Zelda game, especially. It's a unique instance that you have something like that. Usually, like Link is going by himself, he might have a companion, but usually a companion is like a fairy or something like that. It's not like there's too much to choose. So it's interesting to see what the manga does with it. Now, I actually kind of lied. It's not only that there's four links, there's actually five links because you also have Dark Link. So that's quite interesting. Now, the beginning is sort of it shows Link how there's some bandits and they attack an inn and they try to steal whatever they can, and he's going to grab a girl for himself. And then all of a sudden, the heroic Link comes and he saves everyone. And you know, it is quickly implied it's instantly implied that he's a hero. He always comes to help. And another very unique thing is that actually his father actually pops out, which is extremely unique. I don't think they ever had that in any Zelda game or any manga. So they've let themselves quite a lot of creative freedom with introducing his dad as a character. So that's very unique as well. It's established that he's having a very hard time working with other people. He likes to go all by himself, doing everything he can by himself. And honestly, it makes sense because if you think like in Zelda games, in a Zelda game, Link is always alone, even though there is the bigger picture, the kingdom he's trying to save, all the people that can help. Most of the time, he's all by himself. It's not like he's working with anyone, with some exceptions, of course, but usually it goes like this. I'm trying to interpret what this girl feels. Like, is she happy that she was saved? I have mixed feelings about this emotion. I don't know. It could either be gratitude or. Yeah, that's totally gratitude, right? Of course. And it's quickly established that Link is a childhood friend with Zelda. They've been hanging out for a very long time, so childhood friends. And then Zelda has like a vision of something bad happening, and she goes to check on the Four Swords, which is just like which is where the game starts. The game starts with just Link and Zelda checking up on the Four Swords, and this is where then Dark Link appears all of a sudden. You can see him, like, look at him, ooh, very evil. And he kidnaps Zelda, of course, so this is pretty classic. It's really a shame that Zelda gets kidnapped so fast in pretty much every Zelda game. It really doesn't give her much time to shine as a character. Of course, Link gets completely defeated by Shadow Link or Dark Link, so he grabs this sword named Four Sword, and all of a sudden, there's four copies of him. And that's the basic premise of the manga. Now, these two four Links, as I said before, they have a hard time working together. Link is really not used to working as a team, and every one of them has a different emotion as well. Now, the first thing that is very obvious from this picture is that, and this one especially, is that this manga is extremely limited by its format. The fact that it's black and white and they're all the same, only the tone is a little bit different, makes it really hard to distinguish one character from another. Now, of course, they actually have very different emotions. So the normal Link is, I suppose, normal Link. He's sort of calm and collected. And the interesting thing is that in this game, the blue Link is the angry one and not the red one. The red one is more collected. So I'm surprised. You would expect the red Link to be angrier, but they didn't go with him. And very fast, an enemy appears and they have a really hard time working together. They annoy each other and bump into each other, but they manage to somehow do it. Then they fight the Dark Link very fast. Actually, not yet here. And there's like the whole story. Then the monsters attack the city and they do a lot of damage and so on and so on. It's like there's a lot of story here to go on. The four Link characters are given a lot of time to develop. And then, of course, they face Dark Link and they get completely wrecked. They don't stand a chance against him. They're weaker and they don't work. They don't work as a team at all. So they don't really stand a chance at all. And yeah, like I think that's the main premise. I don't know what else I could talk about. So towards the end of the first part of the Four Swords Adventures, the four Links are torn apart, so they get a raft and they decide that together they're going to go all together to the Death Mountain, and they are sailing all very happy with glee towards the Death Mountain, and then Blue Link realizes all of a sudden that the Death Mountain is getting smaller and smaller, and they realize that because the water is coming from the Death Mountain, they're going against the current and it's taking them backwards. That can happen to anyone. So in the end, they fall and they get torn apart. Everyone is in a different location, and now they have to find each other. This is sort of the low point of, I don't know, the drama triangle, if I say so. So the first Link, I can't, it's, like, which one is it? It's Green Link, apparently. So he comes to this Gerudo town. Yeah, like an encampment, and this very nice lady offers him a massage. She takes him in, and such muscles. You must be a very strong boy. Damn, you're right. He's a very strong boy. And she basically massages him for a while, and he forgets about his adventures and enjoys. And we are all jealous because we're not getting a massage in the desert. So, and the other Links, they get a different fate. For example, this Link, again, this Link. Which Link is it? I have no idea. So, this Link, he gets frozen by the Wizrope. Well, I spoiled it, I suppose. He gets frozen. So, this is a cool thing. Like, being frozen is a feature that happens quite a lot of Zelda games. You get frozen like that, and in Four Swords as well. So, it's pretty cool to see that in a manga format. Now, the coolest thing that I would like to mention before is that, especially when we talk about Links not being able to cooperate, is that the purple Link actually gets like the Shadow Link actually talks to him. You know, and then Shadow Link is like, what's the point of telling them anything? They never listen. Just fight and argue. You know, like he gives him like a good speech. Only you can see the big picture. And you know, it's like, why would you even work with those guys? You know, come on with me. And he gets very touchy with him, and apparently it works. For a while, Purple Link actually joins him. And then the other link, okay, so, and then, you know, the story goes on. I don't think I need to go into it all that too much. So the first manga sort of finishes on this low point where it all looks rather bleak for the characters. The three links do come together, but they're still in trouble, and the purple link is still with Shadow Link, and this is sort of the down point. But, you know, it's not over. They're brave, they're going forward, and they're going to make it. At the end, we get like what's coming up in the next volume and a little personal note from the authors as well, which is similar to any other manga. So that's it for part 1. What happens in part 2 is any good? We will see.